All right, so we got a lot to unwrap here, and we're not just going to talk about these Fantastic Four figures. We got a lot more to talk about than that. First off, on this Fantastic Four wave, I was really excited about it just because it's Fantastic Four. I know they're basically just a bunch of repaints of the same shit. It's just a repaint of the Fantastic Four, which is kind of hard to get excited about that, but they did do some pretty cool stuff this time around. They gave us a couple new villains, which is always exciting, but then they put them in these vintage cards. And I know that some of you guys, here's the problem. The influencers and the YouTubers are the problem, because when they make these vintage cards, yes, they look cool. And if you're a mint on card collector, this is the shit. This is everything to you, because you never can build them, because you never open it. So the Build-A-Piece doesn't mean shit to you. But you got this really cool looking card, you hang this on your wall, and your wall is full in like 6 months, and then you got all these cards, and you're sitting here going, I don't really know what to do with this shit, because there's no way to display this when you have 100 of these. Like, it literally will fill your room in no time at all. I know, because I've tried to display some stuff mint on card before, and then it's just like, you know what, screw it. Let's just open this shit up. But that's not the problem. The problem is that they raised the price of the action figures to $22.99. When you buy these things out the door, Walmart, Target, wherever you get them, they're 25 bucks. 25 bucks. And now that they're doing this classic card thing, which looks really cool, you don't get a Build-A-Piece, and the accessories are non-existent or shit. It's not like you get something big thrown in the package to like pump it up to where, well, we didn't give you a build-em, but we did give you this really cool accessory. They don't do shit like that. They could give you like the Fantastic Four of the kid, like their kid. You could give it another shitty robot. There's tons of stuff that you could give us. He's a stretch man. You can't give us like some crazy accessories like you used to back in the day. They don't do any of that shit. But you guys keep telling them how great this shit is, so they're going to keep making it. It would be nice to see a review that wasn't just completely deep-throating Hasbro. Like, let these guys know what you think. Like, do you really think 25 bucks for this shit is a good deal? I mean, maybe you guys just make a lot more money than I do, and I make a pretty good amount of money, but 25 bucks for an action figure is a shit ton of money for something like this. It's just something repainted, no original sculpt, well, maybe one original sculpt. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. So when I saw the Hasbro panel yesterday, luckily I caught it at the tail end of it, so I started it from the beginning, and I could basically just skip through the whole thing. Let's go ahead and talk about that thing, because that thing was really sad and really pathetic, but really awesome all at the same time. First off, they started out, they showed Dwight, they showed those two Asian guys that I always forget their name, and then they go, hey, we got a special guest, we got Jesse Falcon, and then Jesse Falcon comes in, he's at home, because he's always at home, because everybody works at home, because there's no more toy shows that any of these people give a shit to go to, because those things cost money, and they don't have to do it because they're going to sell just as much shit without having to leave their living room. So why would they ever leave their living room again? So they come in. I like Jesse Falcon. I also like to talk a lot of shit about him and basically all the Hasbro team, but I still do like him. I definitely like Jesse. Like, he's a down-ass dude. But he goes on there, they're talking to him, and everything is so uncomfortable. It's like nothing... It's like there's no interaction in them. It's just really lame. There's no jokes, no ball busting. They tried to do a little bit at the end, but it didn't quite work. There's a bunch of bad acting, a bunch of people that don't give a shit about toys that got jobs at Hasbro, so there's just no love or no passion for the hobby, and it really kind of sucked. It was so boring that Jesse checked out after like 15 minutes. Like, I was skipping through, and I noticed I wasn't here. I had to skip back to see what happened to him, and he was just like, fuck this, I'm out of here. You guys are taking way too long, and you're stringing this out forever. And then they bring on artists to like talk about how they create, and I didn't really give a shit about any of that. Maybe you guys did. I just wanted to see the toys. Just show me the toys. If I don't know who they are, I got this thing on my phone. It's called Google. I can just Google them myself and find out everything about that character. So that's why when I do the reviews, I'll talk about them a little bit. Not too much, because if you want to know the backstory, it's real easy to go on YouTube and find the origins of the character, and they're going to do a really good job doing it, a lot better than I can do when I do 6 figures in one video. So I just give a little glimpse of the character, and sometimes I don't have a fucking clue who the character is anyways. So when they're doing that, they show off like the leader of the symbiote, the god symbiote, which actually was really cool. Then they showed up another artist where they show like the the third Vision brother. I didn't even know there was a third Vision brother, but it's pretty cool to get that. And they said that that's going to be like the new Cappy Buck mold, so you're going to see a lot of that, which it's better than the old ones, pinless. And the thing that is every time they say pinless, every time they do pinless, they have to remind you that they're doing pinless. Mattel was doing pinless 6 years ago. They never announced it. They never said anything about it. They just knew that that was the right thing to do. They can't make an action figure now without telling us it's pinless. Yeah, no shit. We can clearly see that it's pinless. Are we supposed to suck your dick now because you did it? Like, give me a break. You don't need to bring that shit up anymore, although I will keep bringing it up because I think that I had a good part in that because I beat him up so many times. Cost a lot of friendships over those pins, but they weren't friendships that really meant much to me. So you're watching the video, they do like a couple more reveals, they do the shit from the video game with the animated line, which I think that whole thing looks like shit. I hate how they draw, like, I'm going to pass on all of those. I think all of them look like shit. And then they also did some like black and white character with a torn up cape. No clue who he is, but once again, Google. I'll know everything about him. All I have to do is click a button to find out. Which anytime I can get a new character in my collection, that is pretty cool. And then the whole thing was just shit until the end. And then the end was glorious. It was so good. They're like, hey, let's check in with our fanboys and see what they get some reactions of what they think of the show. And if they had me on there, or dudes like me, or dudes just like, which I found another YouTube channel today. This dude is amazing. He looks like a fat Jack Sparrow's, paints his nails. I don't know if he's a butt pride or not. I don't care. The dude is awesome. I'm going to take a picture of his channel and put it at the tail end of my video just so you can go to them. Definitely check him out. He's the guy that should be interviewing Hasbro. This is the guy that should be interviewing Hasbro. Because all the guys that are interviewing Hasbro, when they show them this, they're just like, oh my God, it's amazing. I love it. And it's only $25, and they go, that's a fair price. Yep, that sounds really good. I know that they're all just repaints, but wow, that's a great deal. I can't wait to get it on my shelf. Oh my God, I'm so sick of hearing that. So they go, hey, let's go check with our fanboys. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be cool. Hopefully we'll get a little interaction with the guys that actually collect these toys. I go, it's probably gonna be a lot of ball licking. It usually is. There's definitely gonna be some deep throating. And there might be a little anal at the tail end of the video, but when in Rome, let's check it out. And so then they click on there, and there's like 20 dudes on there. And it looked like half of them were asleep. And I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Like, you think they would have been like, hey, you guys are gonna be up in like a minute. And nope, they just zoomed right in and it looked like half of them were asleep. It was Office. Shart was on there. Shart wasn't even in there. He had to go take his shit or something, which that was like the coolest part. Because Shart was just probably just like, oh my God, this shit is fucking lame. I'm out of here. Left his camera on his chair and there was just an empty chair there. And oh, that was cool. Definitely respect for that. I definitely love it. I don't know if he stepped up for 1 second, was planning on coming back, and they just happened to clip it that 1 second. Either way, you wouldn't leave if it was exciting. You would be hanging on the edge of your seat waiting for these great reveals. And then I'm like, so everybody's sitting there, nobody can talk, they have no sound, anything. And then they like clip to a couple of them to see their expression. And these dudes are like, and I'm like, holy shit. Who scripted this? This looks like shit. This is horrible. Could you imagine being one of those dudes and you're sitting at home, it's Saturday, and you're sitting at home and your wife, your chick, your friends or whatever, they're like, hey babe, hey honey, hey bro, hey whatever. Hey, did you want to like maybe take the kids to the pumpkin patch today? We'll like go hang out and like do some family stuff, like maybe see a matinee, and you're like, no. Or you got your boys like, hey, you gonna ride dirt bikes today? Let's go to the skate park, let's go to the lake, we're gonna go fishing. No. I got this shit planned. What do you got planned? Could you imagine being one of those dudes and have to explain to your friends or family that don't collect toys and tell them what you're doing today? So you sit there and you go, oh, well, I got this panel that I'm going to be on at like noon. How long is that going to take? Oh, it's probably going to be like 2 hours. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm probably just going to sit there and look at this screen like a Zoom meeting at work, but I'm not getting paid. And they're like, wait a second. You're doing a Zoom meeting for this toy company and they're not paying you? No, they're not paying me. Why are you doing it? Are they giving you like free like toys? Well, not really. They might mail me like a really big box of some bullshit that I already have or some shit that I don't want. They might do something like that. Well, are they gonna like mail you like a set of like the Fantastic Four like before everybody for you can review them and you'll have actually something that's worth something? No, they're definitely not gonna do that. So what are you doing? And how do you explain to your wife, girlfriend, bro, friend, whatever you got, boyfriend, I don't know. How do you explain to them that you're sitting there going, well, I just want to do it because I'm just hoping and I'm praying that they click on me for 1 second and I could tell them how awesome their panel was, even though it was shit. Just shit. It was their worst reveals ever. What they did show was kind of cool, but 2 hours of shit for like nothing. And you're like, dude, this sucks. After sitting there for 2 hours, like they should give like those guys like the next, to tell you what, sorry for fucking up your Saturday afternoon. You couldn't, we'll just give you free Marvel Legends for the rest of the year. Because they could do that because they make shit tons of money, you know, because these things are $25 each. So you got to sit there and explain to your girlfriend or your wife how you don't want to hang out with the family. You got to do some really gay shit. And then they click on there and they don't even talk to these dudes. And I'm like, do these dudes feel like that was cool, or do they feel like they got played? Like, you guys got fucking played. Like, they called Toy Shiz up to do that shit, and he's like, no, bro, I'm cool. Like, I actually got stuff going on in my life. Like, I'm not going to sit there on some fucked up Zoom meeting forever. Like, no, I'm cool. I'll pass. Thanks, but no thanks. Like, everybody else, come on, guys. Man. Like, you're just sitting at the edge of your chair just hoping and praying for just a little recognition. Just say something about my channel. Just acknowledge me as like a super fanboy. Like, just, hey, look at me, like I'm a super Marvel Legends fanboy. Like, acknowledge me, please. And then like when they show this stuff and you guys get excited about it, Dwight could literally be sitting there at that fucked up table with that stupid Lazy Susan. He could literally go like this, shit in his hand, drop it on that Lazy Susan, spin it around, and half those guys on the panel will be like, oh my God, that's amazing. When does that come out? Well, it actually came out 20 years ago. This is like the 20-year version. This is actually just a repaint of some shit that we did a couple years ago, but we repainted it, but it's not going to be as cool as the one we did 20 years ago. Instead of getting like a cool like plastic base or something that you can actually do something with, take some pictures with, we're just going to give you a bunch of cardboard squeezed in the package. And you're not going to get like an original sculpt to celebrate the 20th anniversary. You're just going to get some repainted bullshit. Oh, well, okay, well, it is going to come on one of these fancy cards for you Mint on Card collectors. And I'm like, well, that's okay. Like, you get a cap. We already have tons of caps. You get an Iron Man. You got tons of Iron Mans. But the one they did 20 years ago looks better. And then you get a Hulk. I'm pretty sure it'll be in that same body that you just got like 6 Hulks of. So they'll redo that. Hopefully do some extra long fingers with like bendy wire in them. I have that Hulk. I have all those original figures, which I'll probably pull them out when I review those later on. And drum roll, here we go. And it says right here on the package that you will be getting Toad, the figure that everybody's wanted forever. I have the original Toad. I like the Toad. I am looking forward to a new Toad. I am going to keep the old one. I just think it would be cool. So you have these fucking idiots standing by for 2 hours. I'm not just talking about the guys on the panel. I mean everybody who tuned in for this. Like, because I skimmed through it, got through the whole thing in 10 minutes. Hopefully you did the same thing, or you hope for somebody to do the wrap-up of it. That would probably be even a better option. I saw Toy Shiz did a wrap-up. I just watched his, and I was like, yep, I didn't miss anything. Do that. You got to sit here. The one figure that we all want to see, which I have one, is Toad. You couldn't show us a Toad? You couldn't even do that. Hasbro. I mean, I love your shit, obviously. I can't stop myself from buying it. They love it a little bit more than I do. I don't give a fuck about your recognition. It would be nice. I'm not going to pretend like I want it. I know that it's not going to happen. You need to have guys like me interview you. For the people that actually watch my channel, will start getting what they want. and not a bunch of repainted bullshit for an escalated price. By the way, those 20-year anniversary figures, those things are going to set you back like 35 bucks for a figure that you already have. But yet nobody's bitter because everybody tells them how cool it is. Let's check this shit out.
It's not the first time I've seen the side of you. I'm through, and now you're walking on such a thin line, and I'm about to lose my nerve when all of this has cost me so much. Now leaving in the dust everything we had, you threw it away, and I have wasted too much.
All right, so I got them all lined up, favorite to least favorite, and there's no build-up figure. It sucks when you get a whole set of Marvel Legends and you don't get to, that's the magic. That's everything. They started that, they need to finish with that, but now they're so money hungry that they're slowly taking that away from us. God, it would be so great to put like a, could you imagine if we bought all this bullshit, or even more bullshit, which I actually like this bullshit, and we got to put a Dragon Man together? That would be amazing. You know Dragon Man's coming. He's not going to be a build-em. He's going to be one of those figures that cost you like $100, which I will gladly pay it. I have Dragon Man. I love mine, but I'm always looking for an upgrade on that figure. It sucks that my figure, my $600 Dragon Man, is going to be worth like $20, but it is what it is. So starting out here, least favorite to favorite, you have the Invisible Girl. I know a lot of people complained about the face. I really don't think it's that bad, but it's just another Sue, and you're like, kind of whatever. And then you have the Stretch Man. Love the Stretch Man. They did him with the overcoat, the lab coat. That is a really cool touch. I love the color on this. This is my favorite color of the Fantastic Four. Then they did Thing. Thing is one of my favorite characters of Marvel, so anytime you make a Thing figure, I'm just ecstatic. I did pull out the Thing collection on past videos, so if you want to see that, go ahead and check that out. I think I've pulled out a collection video of all these. I will pull out a couple things for comparisons and a few other Fantastic Four teams, because they've really been giving us a lot of Fantastic Four, even more than I would like, and some of them I don't even like, but I like the Fantastic Four, and I just feel like I have to have it. Then you have the Human Torch. This is one of my favorite Human Torches. They did a lot of great Human Torches. This is another one. The thing that I like the best about this is that they didn't put the 4 on the chest. I wish that this thing would have came with 2 heads to do like a blank face, for you could build like a Toro out of this, because it's perfect because he doesn't have the 4, so you could put this on there. I'm pretty sure it's a Defender team that I put together where you have like the original Human Torch and like Toro, so you got 2 fire guys in one team. It's kind of a weird team, but I put that team together, and that just makes your toy room all the better. And then you have down here, make sure I don't screw up his name, the Evolutionary. He's one of the most powerful characters in the universe. It's cool that they finally made him. I didn't have a clue to who he was until today, and I watched a YouTube video to figure out who he was. He's actually a pretty cool and pretty interesting character. And then you have Psycho Man down here. They did Psycho Man back in the 5-inch. I thought they killed it back then. They definitely did an amazing job on this figure. I would like to talk shit about some of these, but I actually like them. I think they did a pretty good job on all of them. This thing, as you can see, it's an all-new sculpt. It's amazing. Of course, it's pinless. The articulation, we'll save that for another guy's video. I'm sure there's a lot of channels out there that they're just itching to go over the articulation with this thing. Well, the ab section, the mid section does look weird, so we will check that out. Oh, that is cool, actually. Does he turn anywhere else? Doesn't look like it. I think that's all you get there. It does have a thigh cut here. How does that work? Oh, that's actually really cool, because these tubes go down past that and then it turns inside of that. That is cool. I hate the thigh cut, but I love it on this one. The ankle, that definitely looks, they're absolutely, as much as I like to talk shit about them, they're killing it. This toy is amazing. The paint on it is perfect. That's exactly what he's supposed to look like. I think they did a good job. Normally I want like a wash or an airbrush or whatever, but I think they kind of nailed it. Double jointed elbows on it. Also this articulation here where the color changes, that's really cool. No butterfly joints or anything, but I don't know, I love it. The head moves actually really good on that too, which I love how that works. He's an amazing figure. He comes with this little box. I thought this thing would just be hollow, but it's actually like solid, or they filled it in. So this is cool. The character, he's like some guy, has this box and he dials and he gets in your emotions and he basically makes you fear, doubt, hate. You know, it's his power source. His powers are weird, but a really cool action figure to put on your shelf. For comparisons, I think I have the 5-inch one if he's not too far deep on the shelf. I'll go ahead and pull him up. And then you have the Evolutionary, which this guy, he was basically just a mad scientist, and he turned himself into this thing of glory. I love the costume on this, and whenever they do figures, I'm like, who else can they use for this? And on this, I have no clue. I was thinking maybe like a powered down Ben and like a spacesuit or something, like how they did that movie figure back in the day. I have that. I don't know if I'll pull that out or not because I've pulled them out so many times in the past. But this one, I saw this and I was like, God, this would be like kind of like a reuse for the leader of the Reavers. I think that's Pierce. They already did the head. His costume, like one of his versions, is kind of similar to this. I know we're going to get that character someday. I'm real curious to see what costume they go with him because he's wore a few different costumes. All new sculpt, once again, completely pinless. You're welcome. This thing is actually really cool. When I was thinking, man, this thing is kind of boring. It looks like shit. Then I Googled him, looked him up. And this is exactly what he's supposed to look like. It'd be nice to maybe have a little wash over the legs just to highlight all of these ridges. They usually do a pretty good job on the sculpt. They always cheap out on the paint. But the figure is actually really cool. The head is glossy. The plastic is pretty good. The marbling, it's a little marbling here and there. I really don't care about the marbling. That's not really something that bothers me. They painted all the rivets front and back, so I guess that's like, you know, it's like a big deal if they actually do shit now. Like, you expect them to not do shit, and then they're charging us 25 bucks. I kind of like him. He comes with the extra hands, which I'm going to go with him just how he came out of the box. And then you have the Human Torch, which this thing is, I love it. I think they did a great job. Of course, he's just a repaint. I'm so happy that they didn't put the 4 on his chest. So I won't be putting him in a Fantastic Four team. I'll be putting him in a different team. I'll go ahead and show you that team at the end of the video, just like a quick picture or something. He's cool. I just wish he would have came with 2 different heads so you get 2 different characters out of it. But I do like him. I like the color red. I love the black lines. Heaven forbid they sculpt those lines on there and then paint it. But you know that shit's never going to happen. At least not for 25 bucks. They do that shit, they're going to want like 55 bucks. Then you have the Ben Grimm. He does come with 2 heads, which this head is cool. And then he comes with hands. So you got all this shit before. We just got a ton of them. I'll go ahead and pull out a couple other ones so you can see the difference. I love this head. I love the dopey head with no teeth in there. I just think that's really cool. When I remember watching the cartoon, like, this is the Ben that I remembered. He's got kind of more of a Speedo shorts instead of the regular shorts, which I like this better than the other one. He doesn't have a 4 on the belt, which is kind of cool, but I kind of miss it. But I'm sure that at this time he didn't have one. They're usually pretty accurate on stuff like that. You've gotten this figure many times in the past, so we don't need to look at him, or at least I did, because I had to buy, I think, 2 of every one because it came with different heads. Then you have this. He comes with extra arms. You can pop these off and have them with the lab coat or without the lab coat. I don't know why you would do it, because you already have this figure without the lab coat. I haven't did it. Let's go ahead and do it. That's not... Okay, they come off nice and easy. You can take this coat off of them, which I would never display them like this. Then you can put these hands on them, or these arms on them. They lock right in. I wish they would do this on all of them, for you could change out arms and legs all the time. Like, I think that's definitely a cooler option. I know Shark's doing that Street Humans line, and I think all his arms and legs are going to pop off like this, which is a brilliant idea. I think that's great that you can do that. For you got more playability, you can mix stuff around. You can also put these hands on this. I'm actually going to take these arms back off of it, put the lab coat back on it. And then somebody said I could use this like the lab coat for Bruce Banner, which that is also a good idea. But then you can't like pop the arms on and off of other action figures because they're like locked in there, which sucks. Do this shit on all your figures. I just think it's a way better idea. Then you have the Invisible Girl. She comes with this effect. Like, the accessories on this set is shit. You get nothing. Like, nothing. Like you could do like a really cool, like big giant ball that she could get into, or they could all get into, or just like a little dome that you could put over somebody's head for when she chokes people out and she puts that bubble over it. This is all you get, which is cool, but it's just lackluster, man. Like 25 bucks, no build a piece, no accessories, no bullshit. Their possibilities are endless with accessories that you could do on this. They used to give us these big giant flame effects. They get like nothing now. You get this, like garbage, just nothing. This guy's power set, like he kicks ass. Like he's literally created worlds and destroyed worlds, and he's kicked Galactus ass. You could do some badass laser effect with this. You would think that they would pick up the slack when you don't get a building piece and put something cool in the package. This guy is cool. I kind of think this is really all you needed with him, but the old one came with a lot more. Let's do some comparison. So I started pulling out Fantastic Four teams, and I realized that I could have pulled out at least 3 or 4 more Fantastic Four teams, and my little display area was getting too full, and I figured, you know what, I've showed you all that shit in the past. So if it's stuff that you'd like to see, I definitely have it somewhere so you can look through old videos. So this is the Fantastic Four set that we just bought. I actually really like it. I got no complaints. Well, a couple little complaints, but I do kind of like the set. This is like my favorite set back here. I definitely like the color blue. This is where he has the shorts, and then this is where he has the Speedos. So you can see those two for a side-by-side comparison. I do like the Speedo a little bit better than that, but that one has like the painted, like the dark on there, which I bought 2 of those ones and then got them displayed, 1 of each head. Then you got the Kirby, which I thought was a really cool touch. You got the Fantastic Four single car right there, which is a really cool touch. Like this was accessories back in the day, like that was an accessory. And then you get this set of toys, and now they consider that thing an accessory, which, man, they could do so much more, but they just don't do it. And then you have the Fantastic Four kid back here. We got a couple of those. I mean, throw one in the package. I'd rather have another one than not have it. But your accessories is just shit, guys. Like, you're just so money hungry, you can't give us anything cool anymore. And then you got this set, which when they did the black costume, I was like, man, I've never liked him in the black costume. But at the same time, I'm happy to add that in my collection. Like I said before, I could build at least three more Fantastic Four teams just by a quick glance. Right up there, if you look up there, there's a Mr. Fantastic up there right next to that old Hercules. That's like my favorite one, where he's like super stretched out. I could put that team together. It's just kind of like whatever. Like I've showed you all that stuff in the past, and I don't want to just keep pulling the same shit out. As far as accessories goes, we do have this thing, which he came on like this air bike, which is definitely, that's an accessory. That's what you used to get for an accessory. And then you also get something like this. You get Mr. Fantastic as a ball, which is definitely a really cool accessory. You could throw something like this in there. It's cool. It's just like people that love to take pictures of their stuff. This is like right up their alley. They could do like the thing throwing him. And this was close. I just went ahead and grabbed him. This was when they did the Ben Grimm in the spacesuit for the movie. If you look in there, like there's a big, giant, huge button on his back, and you can push that, and then he'll change into Ben or change into the thing. Let's do some comparisons of these other two and try to wrap this thing up, because I know it's getting a little long. All right, so here's the Psycho Man with this 5-inch comparison, and I used to think this figure was cool, but oh my God, that thing is, I mean, it was cool back in the day, but that thing is junk. That was an accessory. He didn't have the like little fear box. That's what he's supposed to have. And then you have the Evolutionary over here. I went ahead and put the his head on there. I think his name, what's his name? Pierce. He has a costume that's very similar to that. I'm wondering if they're going to go with something like that for a repaint. Let's show you let's put that Human Torch up there with the Invaders. It was Invaders. I know I said the Defenders, but it's actually the Invaders. Let me put him up there and I'll show you a quick shot of that. All right, so here's my Invaders team with the new Human Torch in there. That definitely looks good. I wish they would have really did a blank face on there. That's just another Human Torch that I put up there as a filler for Twirl. That looks good. Here's the one that I had in there. I just put his hands over the 4 because he's not supposed to have a 4 if he's on that team. As far as the teams are going, this is my favorite thing in my collection. I showed you this before. I'm just taking a really quick walk through just of like one shelf. Look how good these things look together as team. Evil Brotherhood of Mutants. God, they just look so good. That's that Mr. Fantastic that I was talking about earlier. That's my favorite one. That thing, God, that thing is just, Amazing. Maybe I'll put the lab coat one in there for that team. That might look a little bit more appropriate, but I do love that one. And then you have more of the teams over here. Hellfire Club, Winter Guard, Fearsome 4. Still haven't got the Age of Apocalypse Wave 2. Can't find it anywhere. House of X, House of M. I just put the Batmobile up there, so now it's like super dark. So I think I might have to move that. That was where I had to put it. It was way up there. Maximum Carnage. Still need Carry On for that. And then you have the Cabal up there. All right, guys, if you're still here, let's go, Brandon.